As much as we look up to our NBA stars and think the best of them, they don't always play fair. In fact, there are foul plays in NBA games that have ended careers and ruined lives. Dirty play varies in all different kinds. Sneak plays, intentionally dirty plays, physically dirty plays, and trash talk dirty plays. They trash talk you into losing your cool, and if worse comes to worse, physically tackle you to the ground. Yeah, they'll go to any extent to get that win. Today we are taking a look at the dirtiest gameplay in NBA history. Be sure to stick around for number 1, where the player hurt someone so badly, they needed to get 40 stitches. Starting at number 10, we have Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett is one player you wouldn't want to be alone with, and especially not when you're his opponent. Garnett plays it dirty, but more in a psychological way. Now, that's not to say that he lacks the physical foul record, because he's always ready to make a hard foul and throw fists if it comes to it. He likes to get into his opponent's head with all his trash talking and force them into making the mistakes. It is considered to be dirty play to try and irk your opponents, though some argue he does it in the spirit of competition. But with competition running high and playing with hot-headed players like that, it doesn't take much till you have a fist come flying your way. Gotta give it to the man, though. He knows what he's doing. Our player at number 9 showed up for the wrong game. The relatively unknown player at the time, Jason Smith's foul against Blake Griffin was a very dangerous one, especially when Griffin already had many injuries on his list. During the Hornet Clipper game back in 2012, midway through the fourth quarter, as Griffin was headed to the basket, Smith charged into him, hip checked him, and knocked him to the ground. Griffin was in the air for seconds before this happened, making it even more dangerous. I don't know why Smith thought it was necessary to commit a foul like that. He wasn't even going for the ball. The worst part was, it didn't just look intentional, it was intentional. It was deliberate and petty, and just because you raise your hand like that, Smith, doesn't mean you're innocent. That 2-game suspension served him right. At number 8, we have Dennis Rodman's flagrant foul on Scottie Pippen. For this one, we go back in time to 1991, where NBA was a whole different deal than it is today. Hard plays were looked over as good sport until something really crossed the line. During the Detroit Pistons Chicago Bulls Eastern Conference Finals, Rodman shoved Pippen viciously towards the stanchions, causing him to tumble towards the first row of fans. This clearly had nothing to do with the game or the ball. At that point, Rodman was simply frustrated and threw all rational thinking into the air. He said screw it and took this cheap shot. There's no other explanation for what he did. Left dazed by the sudden attack, Pippen later had to take 6 stitches for the injury. This foul play was just Rodman being a sore loser. Now be sure to watch to the end because number 1 is absolutely ridiculous. Number 7, we have the time Kevin McHale clotheslined Kurt Rambis. Going even further into time, we are now in the 1984 game where the Los Angeles Lakers and Boston Celtics were playing against each other. One of the most controversial fouls in NBA history happened during Game 4, where the score was 76-70 with 7 minutes remaining. There, the Lakers forward Kurt Rambis was headed for the loop for a layup when out of nowhere he was clotheslined by Kevin McHale. You can see how he hit the ground with reckoning force, but seconds later got back on his feet and was ready to have a go with McHale when his team member James Worthy pushed him back down. A brawl almost broke out during the game. You can see how the first 2 rows of seats immediately emptied because of the aggressive tension between the players. But because it was the 80s, McHale just got away with a foul and was allowed to stay in the game. Imagine if something like that happened today. Suspension? Fine? You name it. At that time, however, this was called an inspirational play that changed the course of the series. But now, can we talk about how the announcer reacted to this whole scene? He went, "And now let's watch it happen." This man was ready to narrate a fight. Man, the 80s were crazy. Also, can we give props to Kurt's glasses that were the only part of him to stay unmoved during this whole fiasco? At number 6, we have Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen is one player that has tried it all on the court. Kicks, hits, and trips. He has done it all, but there is one instance where he just went too far. There was one incident with Vince Carter where he took a jump and while coming down, rolled his ankle on Bruce Bowen's leg. Coincidence? I think not. The former Spurs player was notorious for sticking his feet underneath his opponents and taking up their landing space. He does it, and he denies it. Bruce has claimed to be an aggressive player and hates being called dirty. But come on, dude. It's your own doing that amounted to this. There is tough aggressive play, and then there is malicious aggressive play. And Bruce Bowen falls into the second one. Honestly, what was he expecting to happen when he slipped his foot under Carter like that? It's not all rainbows and sunshine after. Coming down on the wrong foot has ended careers and caused people lifelong injuries. Don't give us that BS, no one believes you. We have eyes, and you, mister, are the dirtiest player if we have ever seen one. At number 5, we have Meta World Peace on James Harden. Name World Peace. This incident by Ron Artest was anything but peaceful. He went for the kill. The LA Lakers forward was suspended from the game against the Thunder for swinging his elbow at James Harden. The Lakers forward claimed that it was unintentional and that he was overzealous celebrating a dunk, but when you see the video from that night, it's clear what it was. He felt Harden there and then proceeded to elbow him right in his head. It left him with a full-blown concussion. How is that not intentional? You feel a guy there and the natural thing is to swing your elbow at them? I don't buy into that BS, and neither did the referees because he was suspended for 7 games following that incident. Just take your points and go, man. Why you gotta do him dirty like that? Number 4, we have Zaza Pachulia on Kawhi Leonard. If you are even relatively interested in the NBA, you know Zaza Pachulia. And no, he isn't one of the star players who is going down in history. He's known for all of the wrong reasons. People know him for his dirty plays. This guy knows what he's doing and takes pride in it. During the 2017 Game 1 of the NBA semifinals, the Spurs played against the Golden State Warriors in an intense battle. In the first half, the game was clearly on the Spurs' side, all due to Kawhi Leonard. But to give his team a winning chance, Zaza decided to take down Kawhi on his own. While going for the shot in the air, Kawhi landed on Zaza's outstretched foot. Again, foot into the player's landing space. He injured his ankle and was ejected from the rest of the game, but this worked in Zaza's advantage because things started to look down for the Spurs until they finally lost 113 to 111. When you see the footage from the game, it's clear how Zaza intentionally moved closer to Kawhi's landing space, causing him to land directly on him. But if that wasn't enough, he went for Russell Westbrook next. He deliberately knocked down Westbrook and then stood over him, looking down at him like he was trying to prove a point. What was he trying to prove standing over him like that? Dude, the only thing you have going for you is your height. Take it and go. No one likes you at this point. But that did earn Westbrook a 3-point shot. When later asked about it, it's clear how annoyed he is at Zaza. Though Westbrook swore revenge, unfortunately, Zaza wasn't done with him yet. In 2018, the Thunder played the Golden State Warriors when Westbrook dove for the layup, but the ball hit the rim, and while going for the rebound, he collided with Young and they both fell to the floor. Zaza, who was there, saw Westbrook fall and proceeded to fall right on top of him. This man really just saw Westbrook fall and thought, that doesn't look like it hurts. You know what will hurt him? If I fell on top of him. He has so many foul plays under his wraps that even some of his fans are starting to question him. But at least he owns up to it. Our next player insists that he accidentally kicked someone in their nether region. And be sure to watch to the end because number 1 is absolutely ridiculous. Number 3, we have Draymond Green on Steven Adams. Yes, it's Thunder and Warriors again, only this time the dirty play is on Draymond Green. This happened while the Warriors were losing and Draymond was desperate to make a shot. But he also took a shot with his leg. His leg hit Steven Adams' groin and the poor guy went down faster than ever. While Draymond defended himself saying it was unintentional, the hit looked very much so. Draymond said he was flapping in the air, having forgotten the NBA rule against flapping. This is why they were considering suspension even though he was allowed to remain in the game after the flagrant 1 foul. I'm sure Adams wasn't happy with the decision made. Poor guy damn near lost his family lineage on the court. Number 2, Patrick Beverley on Russell Westbrook. Westbrook is no stranger to injuries, but this one sent him straight to the surgical room. During the 2013 season when the Thunder were playing against the Rockets, Westbrook was fouled by Patrick Beverley. As Westbrook brought the ball up the court and headed to the hash mark to call the timeout, Beverley jumped in to force a steal just before time was up. It was a reckless attempt on Beverley's part that caused him to bang against Westbrook's knees. Westbrook was immediately down in pain. This foul play just caused a lateral tear in Westbrook's meniscus. He had to undergo surgery to fix it. Overall, this was an unnecessarily ambitious move on Beverley's part, and he definitely should not have gotten away with it. Finally, on to number 1, we have Karl Malone on Isaiah Thomas. It happened on December 14th of 1991, and it was a big match for the Jazz and Pistons. While the Jazz were looking to take a place among the league elites, the Pistons were looking for a grand comeback to the disastrous losses in the previous season. Both teams tied at 6-6, and that's when everything went down. The path to the hoop was cleared for Isaiah, and on the way to a clean layup, Malone blocked his way. And when I say blocked his way, I mean jammed his elbow right into Isaiah's left eye. The tension rose high as fists started flying from all around. Man, the 90s. But Isaiah was left on the hardwood floor as blood spurted from one of his eyes. He would later have to take 40 stitches for that one. Malone later suffered a 1-game suspension and a fine of $10,000. So, which one of these events did you think was truly unintentional? Leave a comment down below. Also, like and subscribe if you want more of these videos. Wait, while you're here, why don't you click on one of these 2 videos and enjoy.